Nation, welcome to the Duza Bear Digest for Wednesday, June 30th, 2021. The least sound person in Parliament right now is Jody Wilson-Raybould. What I mean by that is there isn't a single person in Ottawa worse at keeping a confidence than JWR. She records conversations and then releases doctored segments out of context when it fits her narrative. She obsessively screenshots and shares private messages sent to her just to embarrass the sender. She proactively plays both the race and gender card as a defensive shield before she burns people. She's completely incapable of balancing more than one responsibility at a time, which became evident when she confused her obligation to advise the Prime Minister and Cabinet as Minister of Justice about SNC Lavalin with her obligations to seek fair judgment against SNC as Attorney General, all of which empowers conservatives seeking to malign the Liberal government. And JWR plays right into all of it. But they may have overplayed their hand this time, because it's increasingly clear their claim that cancel culture is out of control, and the examples we're being given of cancel culture are actually being done by the people complaining about cancel culture. They're being done by conservatives. Yeah. So trending on the internet right now are calls for Liberal Minister of Crown Indigenous Relations and Northern Affairs Carolyn Bennett to resign. Why? It began with this post, JWR saying if you care enough to make things right, stop your selfish jockeying for an election which no one really wants, and do what you promised in 2018. As I've said many times, Justin doesn't need or want an election. He's governing very well against a weak opposition that continually claims the government isn't worth being in power, while never exercising the power of their majority in the House of Commons to remove it. So why would he risk that by going to the polls? JWR, however, has every reason to avoid an election. If one is called this fall and she loses her seat, then she loses a lifetime MP pension she's only 6 months away from qualifying for. But when Liberal Minister of Crown Indigenous Relations and Northern Affairs Carolyn Bennett called her out for the obvious hypocrisy of electioneering on this issue, just ahead of qualifying for her pension with the one-word text pension, Jody immediately played the race and gender card against Carolyn. I mean, how dare she mention pension to an Indigenous person? Yeah. Because Jody isn't anything but an Indigenous person, right? I mean, that's the only thing anyone ever thinks about when they think of her, right? No one would ever confuse her with a stable, sound, selfless empath, or an accomplished, successful political woman of fame and power, or a voice for the plights of the disadvantaged. No, the only thing that you think of when Jody Wilson-Raybould's name comes up is that she's Indigenous. Even if you sat in government with her for years, even if you went to lunch with her regularly, even if you voted together. So reducing Jody to just an Indigenous person would clearly be racist and wrong, right? So can someone explain to me the title of Jody's book then, please? On this day in 1794, Native American forces under Blue Jacket attacked Fort Recovery during the Northwest Indian War, back when the Northwest was Ohio. On this day in 1886, the first transcontinental train trip across Canada left Montreal for Port Moody, BC. That trip took only 1 day longer than the same trip would take today if you started it now. So, progress? On this day in 1937, the world's first emergency telephone number, 999, was introduced in London, England. Yeah, 1937. When did 911 service start in Canada again? It's also Social Media Day and Meteor Watch Day. Can you say cross-platform symmetry? And that's today's Duza Bear Digest. See you tomorrow.